Continuation. The form of a fair, just, ideal, perfect society on earth and internal relations in society. Jesus and his disciples lived in a commune because they had common money, common property. The book of John, chapter 13, verse 29. For some thought, because Judas had the money box, that Jesus said to him, "Buy what things we need for the feast," or that he should give something to the poor. John chapter 13, verse 29. And we can see in this passage that Judas had the money box. And we can see from here that we can conclude that Jesus and his disciples, because Judas was one of the disciples of Jesus Christ, and we can conclude that Jesus and his disciples lived in a commune because they had one box, one money box. Like that means that the commune had one common budget, one common money. And that Jesus said to him, buy what things we need for the feast, or that he should give something to the poor. John chapter 13, verse 29. The first church also lived in a commune because it had one heart, one soul, common property, common money. The book of Acts, chapter 4, verse 32, verses 32 to 37. The multitude of those who believed were of one heart and soul, were of one heart and soul. Not one of them claimed that anything of the things which he possessed was his own, but they had all things in common. And we can see that if they had all things in common, that means that they had one common budget, one common money, but they had all things in common. With great power, the apostles gave the testimony of the resurrection of the Lord Jesus. Great grace was on them all, for neither was there among them any who lacked, for as many as were owners of lands or houses sold them and brought the proceeds of the things that were sold, and laid them at the apostles' feet, and distribution was made to each according as anyone had need. And we can see that's about the commune. They had one budget, one common money, one common budget. Joseph, who by the apostles was surnamed Barnabas, which is being interpreted son of encouragement, a Levite, a man of Cyprus by race, having a field, sold it and brought the money and laid it at the apostles' feet. The book of Acts, chapter 4, verse 32 to 37. And from this passage we can see that that was a commune, and we can see that how that commune works, how that worked. We can see that for neither was there among them any who lacked. For neither was there among them any who lacked. For as many as were owners of lands, of houses, sold them and brought the proceeds of the things that were sold and laid them at the apostles' feet. And distribution was made to each according as anyone had need. And this is a story about houses. That's about how that commune worked and lived. This means that this form of life was a manifestation of the kingdom of heaven on earth. In heaven, all the angels have everything in common and live a life of communion. This means that this form of life was a manifestation. This means that this form of life was a manifestation of the kingdom of heaven on earth. In heaven, all the angels have everything in common and live a life of communion in a commune. Jesus said that where your property is, there your heart is also. Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 to 21. Don't lay up treasures for yourselves on the earth, where moth and rust consume, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consume, and where thieves don't break through and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Matthew chapter 6, verse 19 to 21. The Church of Jesus and his disciples was a gathering of believers, a community, a commune, a comradeship, from the word common, in relation to common ownership and a common purpose, because Jesus and his disciples had a common budget, common money, common purpose, goals, and objectives, for which they combined their private property into common property. Jesus and his disciples had a common budget, common money, common purpose, goals, and objectives, for which they combined their private property into common property. Common property. They abandoned private property for common property. Thus, they became a public association of people with a common budget. A public association of people with a common budget. The definitions of a commune come from a word meaning common. That means that commune means common, to have everything in common. And this is a definition. A commune is a group of families or single people who live and work together, sharing possessions and responsibilities. Sharing possessions and responsibilities. It is from dictionary Cambridge. Definition of commune from the Cambridge Business English Dictionary. Dictionary Cambridge University Press. A commune is a group living. A commune is a group living situation where people share everything. Vocabulary. This is the link on this vocabulary. A commune is an organization in which everyone is a member of an organization. So there should be no aspects. A commune is an organization in which everyone is a member of this organization. An organization in which everyone is a member of this organization. So there should be no aspects separating people. So there should be no aspects separating people, titles, except for a common title, denoting members of the same team. Accordingly, the form of address in the Heavenly Church should be without sexual division, gender distinction, not brothers, sisters, Mr., Mrs., Miss, and so on, but comrades. Unity is possible if we are comrades of one team, in one comradeship, in accordance to the meaning of this word. Definition of comradeship from the Cambridge Dictionary and Thesaurus. Definition of comradeship from the Cambridge Dictionary and Thesaurus. Comradeship is the feeling of friendship between people who live or work together, especially in a difficult situation. Definition of comradeship from the Cambridge Learner's Dictionary, Cambridge University Press. This is the link. Definition of comradeship from the Oxford. Definition of comradeship from the Oxford Advanced Learner's Dictionary. Comradeship is friendship between people who are members of the same group. For example, soldiers or people who work together. Definition of comradeship, noun, from the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary. This is the link. For example, the word comrade as a member of one team also has this meaning in Soldier's Creed. Soldier's Creed. The Soldier's Creed. I am an American soldier. I am an American soldier. I am a warrior and a member of a team. I will never leave a fallen comrade. I will never leave a fallen comrade. The Soldier's Creed is a standard by which all United States Army personnel are expected to live. The Soldier's Creed is a standard by which all United States Army personnel are expected to live. Soldier's Creed, this is the link on Wikipedia article. Although the word comrade may have a negative connotation for some people at present, it is actually a good word. Although the word comrade may have a negative connotation for some people at present, it is actually a good word, derived from the word common, community, accurately conveying the heavenly meaning of relations in a fair, just, ideal, perfect society as the army of God. Sabbath. The fourth commandment of the Decalogue, Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. Exodus chapter 31, verses 12 to 17. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Speak also to the children of Israel, saying, Most certainly you shall keep my Sabbaths, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am Yahweh, who sanctifies you. You shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy to you. Everyone who profanes it shall surely be put to death. For whoever does any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day is a Sabbath of solemn rest. A Sabbath of solemn rest, holy to Yahweh. Whoever does any work on the Sabbath day shall surely be put to death. Therefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations. For a perpetual covenant, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. That means that Yahweh was refreshed. Exodus chapter 31, verses 12 to 17. Emanuel Swedenborg about Sabbath. Since peace means the oneness of the divine itself and the divine human in the Lord, and the union of the Lord with heaven and with the church, and with everyone in heaven, and also with everyone in the church who accepts him, the Sabbath, and everyone in the church who accepts him, once again, and also with everyone in the church who accepts him, the Sabbath was instituted as a reminder of these matters and was named for quietness and peace. It became the holiest symbol of the church, which is why the Lord called himself the Lord of the Sabbath. Which is why the Lord called himself the Lord of the Sabbath. Matthew chapter 12, verse 8, Mark chapter 2, verses 27-28, Luke chapter 6, verse 5. Heaven and Hell, the portable New Century Edition, Emanuel Swedenborg. This is the link on this book. The Sabbath, Encyclopedia Britannica. Importance. The central significance of the Sabbath for Judaism is reflected in the traditional commentative and interpretative and interpretative literature called Talmud and Midrash AG. If you wish to destroy the Jewish people, abolish the Sabbath first. And in numerous legends, and adages from more recent literature, e.g., more than Israel kept the Sabbath kept Israel. Some of the basic teachings of Judaism affirmed by the Sabbath are God's acts of creation, God's role in history, and God's covenant with Israel. Moreover, the Sabbath is the only Jewish holiday the observance of which is enjoined by the Ten Commandments. Jews are obligated. Jews are obligated to sanctify the Sabbath at home and in the synagogue by observing the Sabbath laws and engaging in worship and study. The leisure hours afforded by the ban against work on the Sabbath were put to good use by the rabbis, who used them to promote intellectual activity and spiritual regeneration among Jews. Other days of rest, such as the Christian Sunday and the Islamic Friday, owe their origins to the Jewish Sabbath. That means that Christian Sunday and the Islamic Friday owe their origins to the Jewish Sabbath. The Sabbath Encyclopedia Britannica. The article, this is the link. Sunday Wikipedia. On the 7th of March 321, Constantine I, Rome's first Christian emperor, decreed that Sunday would be observed as the Roman day of rest. On the venerable day of the sun, let the magistrates and people residing in cities rest, and let all workshops be closed. In the country, however, persons engaged in agriculture may freely and lawfully continue their pursuits, because it often happens that another day is not so suitable for grain sowing or wine planting, lest by neglecting the proper moment for such operations, the bounty of heaven should be lost. In 363 Canon 21 of the Council of Laodicea, the Council of Laodicea prohibited observance of the Jewish Sabbath Saturday and encouraged Christians to work on the Saturday and rest on the Lord's Day, Sunday. Sunday Wikipedia article, this is the link. The first Christians in the time of Jesus and after Pentecost celebrated the Sabbath and gathered on this day for worship. Sabbath in Seventh-day churches, Wikipedia. In the 4th century, Socrates Scholasticus, Church History, Book 5, stated, For although almost all churches throughout the world celebrate the sacred mysteries on the Sabbath of every week, yet the Christians of Alexandria and at Rome, on account of some ancient tradition, have ceased to do this. The Egyptians in the neighborhood of Alexandria and the inhabitants of Thebes hold their religious assemblies on the Sabbath, but do not participate in the mysteries in the manner usual among Christians in general, for after having eaten and satisfied themselves with food of all kinds in the evening, making their offerings, they partake of the mysteries. Sabbath in Seventh-day Churches, Wikipedia. This is the link. The Roman Empire was famous for its ability to assimilate the religions. The Roman Empire was famous for its ability to assimilate the religions of the conquered peoples and their gods and subordinate them to the authority of the Roman Empire by issuing imperial laws, using violence to enforce them. At the same time, divide and rule policy, Latin divide et impera, was widely used. Thus, in the Roman Empire, Christians were separated from Jews. The one God of Christians and Jews was divided. The one God of Christians and Jews was divided into three personalities, which essentially means three gods. And the Christian day of worship was separated from the Jewish Sabbath day and combined with the day of worship of the Roman Empire's sun god, Sunday. There are different points of view on why Christianity has come to revere Sunday more than Saturday, Sabbath. However, it is safe to say that this separates Christians from Jews and Muslims. Now, with the collapse of the Roman Empire, the need to worship the gods of the Roman Empire and observe Roman religious holidays has disappeared because the laws of the Roman Empire have lost their force. In order to get rid of the pagan heritage of the Roman Empire and return to the veneration of the Sabbath day, Christians are advised to abandon Sunday for Friday and officially legislate to move the day off from Sunday to Friday and consider Friday and Saturday as non-working days. Sundays are considered the first day of the week, and therefore it is logical that it should be a working day. In order for Christians to have time to put themselves in order after a working week and prepare for Saturday worship, it is necessary that Friday be a non-working day. Friday is considered the holiest day of the week, and in Islamic tradition is considered a celebration in itself. Friday prayers, Juma, are congregational prayers held in mosques, and Muslims are encouraged to wear clean and Muslims are encouraged to wear clean and refined clothes, perfume, and bathe. Islamic holidays article from Wikipedia. This is the link. Therefore, it is proposed to make Sunday an official working day and make Friday and Saturday non-working days. If we do this, we can get rid of the pagan spirit of the Roman Empire, and this can contribute to the spiritual unity of Christians, Jews, and Muslims as representatives of the three major monotheistic Abrahamic religions. Places where we can put our knowledge and skills into practice. The practical skills of disseminating information and adapting this program to the listener can now be acquired and applied in virtual reality, in communication, in discussion clubs, on Christian and other Discord servers, as well as on social networks. And in some worlds of VR chat, social platform. And in some worlds of VR chat social platform, where we can hold performances, train oral skills, performances in front of an audience. Unlike Discord, in VR chat, in addition to voice communication using figurative language and intonation, visualization language is additionally used, which makes it a good illustration of the spiritual world and communication using this more informative type of language, visualization language. VRChat is a free social platform for communication on various topics, including Christian topics. There are people of different age groups and beliefs. There are Christian worlds, churches, and you can do everything that is in real life and even much more. To do this, there are many different 3D avatars that you can choose for yourself to convey through the visualization your inner world, mood, character, image, state of mind, action. For virtual communication via VRChat, a virtual controller is not required. To do this, it is enough to have a microphone and a modern computer. The main sources of information on the building of the New Jerusalem, the new temple of the Lord God, and the preparation of the coming of the Messiah and his reign, and the preparation of the coming of the Messiah and his reign. The Bible, theory and practice on building the New Jerusalem. Books by Emanuel Swedenborg, theory, the doctrine of the New Jerusalem for the building of the New Jerusalem. Priesthood and clergy unknown to Christianity, George Bush, 1857. Practical application of the doctrine of the New Jerusalem. Instructions for building the New Jerusalem. The Last Temptation of Christ, the novel by Nikos Kazantzakis. The novel by Nikos Kazantzakis, 1955. The Last Temptation of Christ, film by Martin Scorsese, 1988. The Core of Johnny Appleseed, the unknown story of a spiritual trailblazer by Ray Silverman, 2012. The Writings of James Madison, Common Sense by Thomas Paine, 1775-1776, and other literature on political and religious thinking and freedom. Articles of Confederation, the U.S. Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and these are links, web links. The and